Defense is almost completely ignored in chess literature. I know what to look for when it comes to attack, good squares, weaknesses, more pieces in right area, and I have an intuitive sense of when an attack is likely to be successful, but I have no guidelines how to find proper defensive moves. These are the words from one of our students who has been asked about this course. In this video about how to defend, we will try to show you some basic fundamental ideas and the approaches how, when, and why you need to defend yourself. I am FIDE Master Marko Makaj, and together with Igor Smirnov, we make this video Defending Champions. This video contains 15 courses, 15 chapters, with more than 3 hours of great material about how to defend yourself. Beside of these video chapters, we also make very practical part with a lot of games so that you can practice even the theoretical knowledge and you can make the progress with somehow trying to see what and how it happens in these examples. This video is very practical and it's mostly based on fundamental ideas about how to defend. All videos, all chapters in this video course are carefully selected. Even very solid players understand and they knowing what to do when they come to attack. But when they need to defend, they lost their games without any big play. So, in these chapters, in this video, we will try to show some basic examples, some basic ideas and basic approaches, how, why, and what, and even when we need to defend ourselves. I say that this is very practical course because we base this course in the survey of our students and we ask them what and where they have the problems in a defense. For instance, one of the problem is, and one of the students asked, how to form a solid repertoire against serious attacking players. The answer on this question is in the chapter about how to defend yourself in the openings. And this is also one of the chapters in this video. A couple of other students ask something like this. How can I recognize worst position and first step to prepare for a defense? Or sometimes I gain a material advantage, but the opponent has some initiative, and even if I know it's unsound, I have difficulty in defending. I seem to always overestimate the opponent's attack. Or even the question, how to know when to defend or ignore the opponent's idea, activity, or even the attack. The answer on all of those questions is in the chapter about how to evaluate the position. Some of the next questions was, if you are in inferior position, it is tough to stay motivated. Everything seems to be easy for you, the dangerous, the move, maybe the trap. Or how to stay clear-minded in the hard game if you can't find any good idea in the position, even if your opponent wouldn't play strongest moves. Very nice question is also something more about the psychological aspects of defense, how to create a positive mindset when is in difficult position, how to stay focused for a long and tough defense. Based on those kind of the questions, we make one chapter about the psychology in defense. And this is also very, very nice chapter about how to stay focused, not lose the concentration, and how to set your mind for a very difficult time when you need to defend yourself. Very related with this chapter about psychology in defense is one of the chapter about how we can try to consolidate and save almost lost position that even look like the lost position. In this chapter, we will try to say and to show something about premature resignation and when it's time to resign or to try to find some very hidden ideas. Some of the chapters are dedicated to the lessons about how to stop losing material, how to use resources in defense economically, and how to actively defend yourself, and when and why and how is the time to make some counterattacks. Some of the even very solid players have some easy and not so easy time in view of gambits and counter gambits in the opening. So one of our students make the question like this one. I wish to learn to defend against bad situations and the gambits. I would like to know what are the key factors and principles to look out. And because of this, we make the chapter about how to deal yourself with opening gambit and are really the counter gambits good. And basically, we will speak about some key ideas, some key openings gambit, and really what happens if some of your opponents try to counter gambit. In few of the chapters, we will see how and when we need to use some very defensive techniques. Some of those techniques will be simplification or maybe perpetual check, sometimes even the stalemate, or something that I really like is the fortresses. Those are defensive techniques that you need to understand. You need to know them, and then you'll be able to use them in your chess games. Like I say, fortress is one of the best and most impressive techniques that you can use in your defensive approaches, and this is something with and the kind of the motive which one we can defend us in the positions with much more less material, and in most cases we make some remarkable draws. This is very impressive technique, and because of this I want to show you this very practical example. This is the position from real game, and not as the game as you need and you think it can be. This is nothing else but the game between Magnus Carlsen and Sergey Karjakin in their World Championship match. This is really the fourth game where Sergey Karjakin was white and Magnus Carlsen was black. If you look at this position, on first you will say that black is completely winning. His king is on a2 and it's very attacking piece, and those two bishops on c7 and on d7 are monsters. White doesn't have anything else but those very defensive structure, and both of the pieces that are on the board, this bishop on e3 and knight on f2, are completely tight in defense. They cannot do anything else but just stay on those squares and try to defend his position. But if you look at this position a little bit more careful, you will see that Sergey Karjakin used very sophisticated technique. Defensive technique which allow him to save this game. He created the fortress. You can see now that black cannot make any serious attack, and he make the top of his positional advantage, and now it's all about positional strength of white pieces, which are not very good, but they use the purpose of defending the position and they create the fortress. For instance, if black king now move himself to a1 and try to see what white wants to do, we'll simply play just king c2. And after king e2, king can go back to c1, and you can see that black cannot play for a win. He cannot do anything else but repeat those moves. The other idea that is possible here, and the idea that Magnus play, is bishop f4. We try to exchange this bishop in order to maybe go back with the king and then do something on the king side. But neither this will work because this is the perfect fortress and white with easily can take on f4. After taking on f4, king c2 will make this fortress very, very strong. And it's not so difficult to see that even though the black pieces was and are better, white create with very impressive technique the position that cannot be broke. One thing that I heard after this game is when some of the commentators asked the Magnus what he think about this game, and he was disappointed that he didn't success in winning this game, is really that his idea and his vision, and it was also his answer on this question, and his answer was that he really don't believe in the fortress, and in most cases that he thinks that those fortresses can be broken. But after this game, I think he will be much more careful about the fortresses and maybe he create some of them even in his game. I hope that you will enjoy in this video, and on the end of this video that you will know how to defend.